Hi, you guys. We're going to be doing a moon salutation today. So we're going to be moving all the way around the mat. You may have to adjust your camera to make it work. Thank you. Welcome, you guys. I was just telling Beth before you arrived that we are going to be doing a moon salutation today. It's not as heating or as vigorous as sun salutations, but that's a good thing because we just had the full moon in Aries last night. And so traditionally in yoga, when we have the full moon, it's a time not to be as heated or not to be as ambitious in your practice. It's time to kind of slow down a little bit and cool down a little bit because it can really ramp up our emotions and just the energy in general. So you may want a couple blocks. We are going to start off with the restorative back bend we're going to use the blocks with, and then we're also going to use them for a potential half moon. Now, with that being said, whenever we get to half moon, if you can't quite get the hand to the floor, or if your inner thigh or hamstrings are tighter, this is where you're going to want to have the hand on a block to roll open. And then if you wanted to take sugarcane pose, taking a hold of the back foot and rolling open a little bit more, that is also an option. But again, we can keep it simple. All right, so I'm going to talk to you a little bit about this particular full moon because I haven't been bringing up astrology as much in the last few months. And I'm curious as well. So we're going to set up the tall block, the middle block. It's the wind, isn't it?
I don't know.
It's a speaker. Sometimes it's the wind coming through the windows.
That sounds like a speaker. Oh, yes, probably that truck that's draining water out there.
It's the truck. Okay. Yeah, it feels like the wind would have stopped by now.
Yeah.
Sorry about that noise. The first block is going to be set up underneath the ribs, in between the shoulder blades. And then the tall block is going to go right up underneath the base of the skull. Your arms can fan out and your palms can spin open.
That is the wind.
If it's uncomfortable for any reason, it's probably because you're not lined up in the right place. It is so you can adjust. And when I'm on the blocks in this way, as I'm centering and taking a hold of the breath, I don't exaggerate the breath because then the skin can cut into the blocks, or the blocks can cut into the skin. So just breathe in a more natural way as you rest and renew before we begin. We are starting with this heart opening position to really expand the chest and to give room for the lungs to be able to expand as you breathe. Feel free to envision, if you're gazing towards your mind's eye, a perfect circle that's lit and illuminated like the full moon. I mentioned it's in Aries, which is a cardinal sign, a fire sign, and it has the potential to activate our ambitious side as well as to ignite the passion that lies within our heart. Its fiery energy can burn away what is blocking or limiting us. This particular full moon in Aries may be fueling your passion or aligning you to your purpose and independence. Pluto, which is the transformer, has stationed direct
Since Pluto is considered the lord of the underground, or a planet that is about unearthing what's been lurking in the shadows, it'll be interesting to see what rises to the surface. The moon is in Chiron, which is considered the wounded healer. So allow your heart to open to heal any emotional wounds. Let the brightness of the moon bring light to the deepest corners of your heart, to heal any buried trauma or to discover any hidden traits. This moon is inviting us to take charge of our life so that we can help light up the world in a big and bold way. The October sun is in Libra and in Scorpio, which is connected to the planet and Venus. And Venus is the star player or the planet of love, attraction, and relationships. So this month is also about being loved and loving, and it may be full of twists and turns. So just take a moment to reflect on the aspects of this full moon and the fact that it's leading us towards a solar eclipse by the end of the month. Let's take 3 more deep breaths. Coming out of this position, you'll just slide your hands closer to your waist. Flip your hands to be face down. Peel the back side of your head up and use core strength and upper body strength to lift off the blocks. And then once you come up, I want you to face this direction and you're going to stack the blocks on the back side of your mat on either corner. And then your blanket, you're going to fold in half and you're going to have this ready on the back side as well. And then once you have that set up, we're going to get it to same. And we're going to be facing the darker wall. And you're going to line up your ankles, your knees, and your hip points. And go ahead and stand closer to the short end of the mat. As you root down through the legs and feet, circle the arms up overhead. Lace your hands together to this temple mudra, shrugging the shoulders up towards your ears, having the forefingers pointed straight up, and allowing the arms to hug the sides of the head. On your out breath, you're going to sway to the right. And as you curve to Chandrasana, this crescent moon shape, remember it's more about the lengthening than how far you lean. And adding in the affirmation, strength and courage, fill up my body cells. Now press into your left foot, swing your left hip out a little more. And then inhale, come back up to the top, step to your left, and you're taking the Kali goddess position facing the back wall. Your toes are turned out, your thighs are rolling out nice and wide. Your fingers are splayed, your elbows are as high as your shoulders. On your next exhalation, you're going to tip down and rest on the finger pads ever so lightly, and you're going to lift and elevate your heels off the mat. If it becomes too much of a strain for your hips or your thighs, you can set the feet back down. Try not to white knuckle your hands. Depend on your feet. And take a couple more deep breaths. And now turn your heels behind your toes, stack them back to the ground, slide your hands in between the feet, and lower your head in your palm. Prasarita Padottanasana. Now this is our first real hamstring stretch. Balance your weight evenly between the feet. Keep lifting through your sits bones. Keep spreading open through the backside of your knees and gravitate the heart forward. Now on your next inhale, walk your hands back out, lengthen through the vertebrae, and now stack your hands to your waist. And then inhale, slowly lead with the backside of your heart to come up. Lift your hands up so you're in 5-point star. As you reach out through the fingertips, casually glance down and make sure your ankles are lined up under your wrist. Rotate your right foot 90 degrees. Lengthen out over the right thigh and windmill that hand down to the shin and allow the left hand to reach up towards the sky. Good, so straighten your legs, straighten your arms. Roll open through your chest. And affirm here, energy and joy flow down to me. Now take that top hand and start to lean it out over your left ear. Turning the pinky down and rotating the thumb up. So you're rinsing out the shoulder and developing a deep side stretch here. On your next inhale, bring that left arm up, draw up to stand. Softly bend your right knee, and you're gonna offset your left foot, roll the left thigh and hip to face the short end of the mat, and then cross your arms behind your back with your right arm below. So you're crossing your arms just like you'd cross it in front of your chest. Inhale, open up your heart and throat. And then exhale, slowly straighten out the front leg and start to lean out over it. So back again, you offset this foot a little bit more so the toes are turned in more at an angle. Even a little bit more, like hop it. Yes, good, now spread your knees. Now take this arm below the open chest. And now gently release. That's it. Thank you. And then you're in control, of course, of how low you go. But remember, it's about the blend of strength and stretch. So the more you apply pressure through that front foot, the more you're going to add some strengthening with the elongation of your hamstrings. You can feel that strength coming into the front of the foot, to the peroneal muscles attaching to the shin and to the quads. On your next inhale, just lift halfway up. As you exhale, release your hands down to frame the right foot and then wiggle the left toes back behind you, coming into this runner's type lunge. Good, now plant your left palm, spin the navel towards the bent knee and fly the right arm up towards the heavens above. Now lengthen your right thigh bone a little bit more. And then drive your right hip towards the back end of your mat. So that right hip is slightly tucking in. Take one last deep breath. As you exhale, bring the right hand to the inside of the right foot. Spin the right toes towards the corner of the mat. Flatten down your left foot and lunge into the right knee. So we've got Salutation. Good, now you can be here holding it steady, or you can pulse up on the inhale and sink low on the exhale. Just depends on what you need today. And then do the crouching tiger, walk towards the opposite foot. Turning the left toes to the corner of the mat, straightening out the right leg, again being static or pulsing. Walking it back to the right. One more time to the left. Then walk the hands to center, heel toe the feet towards each other, long enough to bend the knees, drop the tailbone towards the floor, and bring your hands to prayer position at your heart. Holding the squat position. Heels may be grounded, they may be lifting, and it may be that you need a block to sit on today. Now, when the tailbone's releasing down, try to jet the top of the head upward. And then slowly press down through the feet, come back to the Kali Goddess. Turn your heels back behind your toes, separate your arms, returning to 5-point star. Okay, look at your feet, make sure they're parallel, and the ankles again are lining up underneath your wrist. Good, rotate your left foot 90 degrees. Lengthen out over that side and windmill down to triangle. Left hand down, right arm up. Straightening out through the spine. Opening up space for the diaphragm muscle. Pivoting the heart center slightly more up. Taking that top arm now across your ear. Rinsing the shoulder, turning the pinky down, rotating the thumb up. And then inhale, re-lift the right arm, come back to stand, and release. Offset your right foot, square your hips as best as you can, taking the pyramid. Right arm behind the back, left arm below that. Open up the heart, throat. Gaze towards the ceiling panel, and then exhale, gently cascade over and down. Turning your navel slightly towards the front thigh. Noticing how the mound of the big toe may want to lift up, and you want to carry it down. That will strengthen your knee and the inner quads. Halfway up. Exhale, lunge that knee, lower the hands down, wiggle the right toes back behind. Once you wiggle the toes back behind, you're in this runner's lunge, you're gonna plant your right palm, and you're gonna spin open to your left, taking the reverse or revolving twist. Exhale, lower the left hand down, and now step the left foot to plank. Pause and plank, stacking the arm bones and joints, keeping your thighs plucking up towards the sky, lifting your head up. As you press lightly through your heels, you're also shining forward through the breastbone. On your exhale, you're going to lower both knees one at a time and then untuck the toes. Push down through the top portions of the feet and shins, and feel your belly starting to pick up and hug in. We're gonna want that core support. Since Aries is a fire sign, we're gonna add in a little fire to the belly. Left leg's gonna shoot back behind us. Keep that heel in line with your hip. Turn the toes down. And now fly the right arm forward and out. Now this is already supplying some core work. If you wanna add in more, you're gonna bring your right hand into a fist, and you're gonna go ahead and scrunch in, nose towards knee. And then inhale, extend the limbs. Exhale, contract and curl. Continue, inhale, extend and open. Exhale, contract. Feel free to add in 2 more. And then release. Restack table. Extend your right leg back. Heel in line with the hip, toes turn down. Extend your left arm. Pause, balance, and breathe. Once you find your stability, you can start to roll with it. Contracting in as you breathe out, and elongating as you breathe in. Once you extend out, after that fifth one, you can lower back to table, curl the toes, hop back up to plank, shift forward, lower down to chaturanga dandasana. Inhale, slide through and up to upward facing dog. And exhale, rock and roll back to downward facing dog. Pressing into the hands. Stretching back to the underside of the arms. Flying up through your seats. And bowing your head. Connect to your breath. And allow calmness to radiate within and without. On your next inhale, look forward towards your hands. You can meditationally walk, you can lunge, or you can bend your knees, and you can float the feet together to Ardha Uttanasana, lifting halfway up on arrival, and then exhale, gently release. So we held that one pose where the feet were far apart. Now the feet are more together. So continue to straighten out through your legs. Continue to gravitate the heart a little lower and let your head be heavy. Collect this blood flow at the crown of your head. Replenish the skin of the face. And let this cool you down. On your next inhale, root down to rise all the way up. You're going to link your hands together to that temple mudra, what we started this moon salutation with. Shoulders lifting towards your ears, arms hugging close to the head. Pointer fingers up in the air. Exhale, curve to your left first. So when we do a moon sal, if we're going all the way around the mat, we start with one. On the back side of the mat, we do two. And then we end at the top with the second one. So all four crescents make the fullness of the moon. Press into your right foot, stretch through your right hip, leaning out a little more, and then inhale, rise to the top. Exhale, curve to the right. Not as dramatic at first. Allow your breath to be available. But then sway a little bit extra at the end here. Inhale, come up to the top. Now step to the left again. Ha. Kali Goddess. From Kali Goddess pose, we're going to come back down to the fingertips. We're going to elevate the hands. Try not to white knuckle the hands. Depend more on the feet. Find a place to look at with your eyes. All right, heels down. Come back up to Kali. Glue the fingers together for the moonbeam hand. Try to keep your lower body completely stable. You're only twisting from the waist up. To the left as you breathe in, to the right as you breathe out. And if you are not wobbling your hips or knees, so you don't want this action, okay? You want the lower body stable. Only if you can keep it stable can you go faster in your upper body. It's very similar to, you know, patting your stomach and rubbing your head, or is it patting the head and rubbing the stomach? Two different actions. center. Lean forward, hands to knees. You're gonna keep your torso moving straight ahead as you swap the left hand over to the right knee. Let the right arm travel behind your back and turn the face to the right. Try not to curve your head or heart to the right, just your face. In other words, you don't want to pull over towards your right knee like this. All right, unwind. Right hand to left knee, left hip behind the back, and then turn the face to the left. In other words, you don't want to pull this direction. Torso in between your thighs. Good, unwind. Turn your feet to be parallel. Extend your arms out, 5-point star. Right foot's gonna rotate. Now, I just realized I told you to put the blocks in the wrong place. You're good, Susan. Sorry about that. I'm confused myself. And stretch out over and windmill down to try. So this time in triangle pose, what I want you to focus on is the fact that this left arm is attached to the shoulder's attached to the trunk. And we're not going to yank the hand or the arm back. Rather, what we're going to do is try to pull open and spin more through the belly and the chest, which will naturally take the arm back. You got it. And then once you find your edge, pause there. Breathe into the left side of your chest, to the left side of your heart. Now, start to relax the left hand down. Turn your gaze down, bend into the right knee. Take your hand to the block or the floor to launch into Ardha Chandrasana, half moon. When you're in half moon, imagine that you're pushing this lifted foot into a wall. Roll open through the barrel of the chest. And if you feel inspired to take a hold of your back foot for sugar cane, you can add in that element. You're holding the foot, release it. Look down, and we're all going to frame the right foot with the hands as we come into the lunge. All right, we did Skandasana on the first side. Create Skandasana now, but we're going to change that if your knee provides this, okay? So it depends on the right knee. If you can lift the right heel and sit towards that foot, you can spin the left toes in the air. And this is called like a half squat. And if it doesn't work, go back to Skandasana. And then this can be a lot for the knee. Oh, you're feeling the quad? Is it your straight leg?
Yeah. It's hamstring for me.
I feel hamstrings and inner thighs. All right, now walk it over. Elevate the left heel. Move your sits bones that way. And pick up your right toes. It's the half Balasana. It's always interesting to see which side is going to be a little bit more tender today. Good, when you're ready, spin back down to that right foot, turn the feet parallel. You're folding over to Prasarita Padottanasana. Now this is where, if you want to bring in the blanket, if you can set your head to the blanket and your hands are creating the tripod, you might be able to lift your heels like we were doing in Kali. And you might be able to scissor the legs up to headstand. Don't worry if you can't. Just leave it out and create the inversion. We're gonna revisit the tripod version at the end of class. So we'll take more time with it at that point. All right, if the feet are up, lower the feet. If the head is down, you're gonna lift your head and walk the hands out in front of you. All right, from here, bring the hands to the hips and slowly stand. We got a whole second side. So the left foot will rotate. The arms will float up. We're first starting with triangle, lengthen over the left leg. Then build down to Trikonasana. So from Trikonasana, this is where we're going to focus on breathing into the right side of the chest. After we form the foundation and start to roll open through the trunk. The right arm should naturally hang back. Energy of joy flow down to you. All right, now go ahead and descend the right hand and gaze down. Lunge that left knee. Use the block if you want for half moon, Ardha Chandrasana. Flexing into that floating foot. Creating some levity. Maybe taking a foot for sugar cane. Back to half moon. And then we're going to exit out to the lunge. Good. Once you have your hands framing that left foot and your right foot's back behind, we're going to step into plank. Be here in plank. And then lower only your left knee. Turn your foot back off the mat. Your left foot. Yeah, and roll your right foot down and fly your right arm overhead. So you have the option to be here. You also have a secondary option to lift the right foot. You have another option to stay here with foot down, here with foot hanging in the air, or right arm over the ear, moving, contracting your side obliques as you exhale, and then inhale, stretching back through the right limbs. So if you want to add in a little bit more of that fiery nature to work the side obliques, take your time, move with breath. And then reset the right foot to the floor and lower to tabletop position. All right, so by this point, you're probably noticing if you need extra padding. So if you need that extra blanket, feel free to incorporate it. Step your left foot back. Slide your right foot off the mat and spin your left foot down to the floor and take your left arm overhead. So option one, be here. Option two, lift the left foot and strengthen your hip. Option three, take the left arm across the ear and then move with your breath, contracting your side body. And then inhale, creating that feeling of expansion. And then doing a few reps. Now set your left foot down, return to table, lift back to plank, and move through a whole vinyasa. lowering to chaturanga, building into a back bend, and then rock and rolling to your inversion of downward facing dog. Holding and breathing. And determining how do you want to end the moon sound? Do you want to meditationally walk, lunge, or float the feet together to the top of the mat, creating some space, and then exhale, close the gap as you drop back in. Inhale, root to rise up, lace the hands together at the top, and curve to the left. Maybe swing out a little more. Inhale, rise to the top. Exhale, hands come home to the heart. Turn back to face the front of the room. Close the eyes as you stand with attention. Salutations to the moon. To the awakening light within. To the dawning of a higher state of consciousness in all beings. Relax your arms. And open the eyes. All right, so come on down to the floor and have your blanket available that is folded in half. That's going to be the padding for our head, because we're going to work on that tripod headstand. Unless you have some cervical spine issues, right? So it's not good for you to be on the top of the head if your neck is not great today. What you're going to do instead is you're going to lift up to bridge, place a block underneath, because this is much better and safer for the neck if you need safety today. If you want to try the tripod, right, instead of coming up that fancy way that we were doing in the moon south, this is I think an easier, more beginner way of doing it. And it keeps you closer to the ground. So the tripod, you want your two hands to be a certain distance apart and your head to be that same distance apart. So I would suggest the hands on a sticky mat, your blanket in front, so your head goes right to the middle of the blanket. And then once you have that padding, you really have to push down through your thumbs, through your inner wrist. Then you tuck the toes, lift the knees, and walk the feet in to elevate the hips. Keep walking the feet in, keep walking the feet in, until one knee can stack on an upper arm, and then maybe the other can join and the toes point up towards the ceiling. And you might be able to push it to your hands to lift the feet all the way up. That's great, Beth. That's great. Do you see how your arms are wanting to wing out? Mm-hmm. That requires pushing down through this area of your hand. Okay. And that will keep the elbows in to provide the shuffle for the knees. And it's okay if you can't line it up, because you had a perfect stacking. Yeah. Of the hips over the shoulders. Okay. So that perfect stacking will hold you. Uh-huh. It's just putting more pressure here in the hand. Yeah. And then squeezing those triceps in. Okay. And then that will make the arms sturdy enough to put the knees there. Okay. So I think that was your issue. Your issue was not core. Your issue was not head. Your issue was not alignment in the rest of your body other than this. Okay. So it's just arm stuff. Yeah. And it's more triceps in this area with your rooting. Okay. You've almost got it. Do you want me to work with you?
I can do
You
both.
do those shots in one, don't you?
I think that's just the way I've always.
The way you've always been taught to do it? Do you want me to try to help you with it? Just to see?
Sure.
Okay.
I mean, I think you gave a perfect description. I don't know why I can't do it. See, that just
Well,
seems too
it's very different.
Yeah.
Although we'll do that. Okay, so your hands don't want to be that wide, like maybe here and here, okay? And then your head way, okay. You actually wait, pause. Putting your head here and look at how much distance is here. So you want that same distance. You want your head here. Yes. So yeah, just crawl forward. Yeah. So once you get to the top of the head, engage this like that stretch. Good. Push down through here. Squeeze the arms in. And instead of hopping up so quickly, focus on rooting the hand, squeezing the arms in, and just lifting one hand. Yeah. So you're trying to hop into it. You don't want to hop into it.
That's my next surgery.
Yeah.
Right here. It's painful.
Yeah, if it hurts, I don't want you to do it.
So, I mean, I probably feel better.
Have you done it on this?
Yeah. Okay, I can do that.
Yeah.
I can do it my other way.
Yeah, do it your other way then. Do you usually use a wall? Okay. So we're just playing with headstands.
Pretty. It's great.
Yeah, you've got a lot of balance. I'm just gonna help you draw the legs together. Point your toes together. Yes. Sweet. It's awesome. Sweet. I was just spotting you so you wouldn't flip.
Thank you. You're welcome. Helping me. I like to do corrections. I know you don't like helping me have all people, but I like when you do adjustments and corrections. Nothing wrong with
Yeah.
that. I think it's helpful. Yeah,
I
just
I go-
doing it.
I go back and forth with it.
I don't have personal space. I'm used to that. And you grab the boys and they come in the bathroom on the office.
Yeah, yeah. I go back and forth with it because I like hands-on touch too, but I've also had really poor adjustments where I haven't been asked, I've been surprised by hands-on touch. So I try to be as verbal as possible.
Right.
But yes, the hands-on is helpful because,
You're not thinking, you just need to feel it.
right, and, or you
Muscle
think
memory.
you're doing it by what they're
The verbal
saying
instructions.
cues are,
Yeah.
but some little thing might be off, like your foot
Just a small
on the
thing.
pyramid.
I have feet issues too. I have like toe issues and feet issues. So they, yeah, so I have to like, it's tricky.
And sometimes even in half moon, the foot will spin. Think about how your body is solely stacked on that one side.
Right.
And if the foot's turned, that's taking the ankle, the knee, and hip out of alignment, and everything stacked on it. It creates tension in the hip.
Yeah.
So,
It's just hard if you have toe pain or you have issues with your toes. A lot of it can be hard to do.
yes.
To do it right.
One thing that I learned to do in a workshop once was putting to learn how to use the mount of the big toe. And I did it at the old studio, is to take either a towel underneath the foot and you're like pulling and stretching the towel in, or putting a quarter there and you're trying to slide the quarter back. That's a nice little exercise to work with.
Okay.
All right, I think we're ready for our final twist and then Shavasana. So the twist, we're gonna come to our backs and tuck the knees in. We'll open the arms wide and let the knees roll left. And if you want a deeper twist than this, you can hook or cross the right leg over the left. And just follow the wave of the breath up and down your right side body. So often I mentioned the twists are good for digestion, but a couple weeks ago we focused on the lymphatic system.
That was awesome. Yeah.
I enjoyed that one too. The twist and the deep belly breathing is really good for the lymph system. And draw the knees to center. And if you want a deeper twist, you can cross the left leg over the right. Otherwise, just go side by side and roll to the right. I don't know if you hear it in the backdrop, but in the music playing, there's some stuff. And that was a mantra we used last week. Satnam means I am truth, and truth is my identity. All right, inhale, draw back to center. 5 breaths in, one last time. And since we have these blocks available, if you would like to do supine butterfly, the soles of the feet together, stacking your blocks underneath for support, you're welcome to go here, especially since the hips are correlated to the element of water, and water also relates to the full moon. Take the time to settle in. So coming back for a moment, speaking about astrology, in the month of September, we had 6 planets in retrograde. So if you felt like you were slowed down, or if you couldn't quite, get things done, that's a good reason for it. The good news is 3 of those planets are turning direct in October. One already has. Mercury, the planet of communication. Pluto just went direct. And Venus will be going direct. So in Shavasana, come back to that imagery of the full moon in your mind's eye. You can even imagine that a beam, a moonbeam, is shining down directly upon your face, illuminating your mind and heart.
Just become aware of your breath. Aware of the headspace that you're in. Anything you're holding in your heart. Begin to move the hands and feet. Drawing the knees back together. Give yourself a warm embrace by holding, hugging the knees into the chest. Maybe swaying side to side to give a little love to your back. Landing on one side, coming up to take a seat when you're ready. Feel free to sit on a blanket if you need a platform. Bringing your hands up to prayer position at your heart. Humbly bow respectfully to the beautiful radiant light and love that you hold in your heart. May we recognize each other's soul. So glad you guys joined me on this holiday.
I'm so sorry you didn't go to your class.
It's okay.
I saw a thing on Instagram